What are web components? So before we say what they are and dig into them, let's state one thing up front. This is not easy stuff, even for web professionals to get. However, this is the end of front-end development learning curves. It's learnable and will work forever. How do I know? Because our team has built over 460 web components over the last 3 years, and we've never once had to think if they work in the next application or project we're working on. We have 171 of those elements you can search for on webcomponents.org under Elm's Learning Network to learn more about just all the different ways that we're transforming the web. So, what are web components? Web components are a 4-piece specification of the browser itself that says if the browser can stamp things into the page, if it can do ways of getting it connected to the page, if it can be encapsulated so it's not bleeding through to the outside world, and if you can define a custom tag or a brand new type of HTML tag, then you support web components. But web components are really just made out of things we already have. They're made out of HTML, CSS, or cascading style sheets, and JavaScript. They can be worked on in any framework or platform, though, unlike past JavaScript or component and design libraries. So for example, if you made web components in this Lego type of configuration, you could envision that your React application, or Angular, or Vue, or Drupal, or WordPress, or any static web page is really that grid plate that allows it to be snapped together. So what a simple example of a web component looks like would be this, that you have a piece of a website that actually is an interpretation on the part of the human to mean something. So this isn't just an A tag with a div and some styling, it's a link off to a new location. So what if we applied that semantic convention and got out of all of this? So if we were to make a web component that is that simple semantic human readable button, it might be called my-button. And it might point to a certain link instead of a src or href. It might have a title instead of just being arbitrary text on the page. So it allows us to create a new way of interfacing with HTML. And it solves a lot of problems through semantic usage. For example, if you looked at this piece of a website and then you inspected and saw what made up that piece of the website, would you be able to replicate all of that easily? I've been doing web development for over a decade and I wouldn't be able to replicate that easily without making mistakes. So we're solving a design system problem. What is the design system problem, you might ask? Well, let's say that an interface designer calls for us to make a simple button. And forever we've been able to make a button. It's not a huge deal to make a new button. In fact, lots of people have design systems that document the way to make a button, or in this case, an alert. The problem, though, is I'm never just making one button, and I'm never making the button and implementing it in a place that's free from previous contexts. And so as we integrate more than one button, inevitably we're going to screw this up. There's lots of JavaScript and HTML that's already in a lot of our properties we're working on that's going to cause issues potentially. Our team saw this in our own development efforts, which is what led us down this path. So we had a listing of media presented as quote-unquote cards, and then we'd have another listing of media presented as quote-unquote cards, but really the files that would drive each of them were completely different implementations of a lot of divs and other HTML tags. So after moving to web components, that whole file was reduced down to 5 lines of code. Way more semantic, a lot easier for other members of our team to understand. And we just kept replicating the process to the point that every aspect of the Elms Learning Network interface, the system that we primarily work on with our development efforts, is built out of web components. So that button in the side, the icon, the button that opens up and expands to a collapsed menu, all of that can be handled via web components. So we also escape design islands. We're not pegged to any one content management system, whether that be Drupal, WordPress, or any new application development framework that comes out. We're also not pegged to any JavaScript library because they're all compatible with web components. So what are some example web components that I could really use today? Our team has worked on several, so we'll point to a few. Stop note is a really interesting way of just alerting a user, hey, pay attention to this. It's something that we've built to use in the context of our online courses. But maybe it's not just, hey, confirm to go to the next message. What if it's a self-check? Something that's a far more sophisticated amount of engineering to accomplish normally can be put into a page as a self-check tag with certain properties that make it really understandable as to what's going on. It could even have advanced interactions, like if I click the reveal to show me what the answer is about this great white shark. Or it could be a testimonial from someone saying, hey, this looks really cool. I want to tell you about this product. The reason I point to this tag is just the amount of times this tag alone has already been reused by our team. Developed originally for a faculty promotional page to say, like, I've had a great job working with this group, we were able to repurpose this directly for use on the hacks.camp website and any other online course that we end up doing. So whether it's solving accessibility issues associated with presenting animated GIFs, or making things collapsible as single tags, or presenting them as tabs, or building advanced video player interactions that just scroll along with you, have interactive transcripts that are searchable, highly stylable, and yet accessible the whole way through, or editing full tables in the browser. All of it is possible with some of the many web components we and other teams have been developing. So who else uses web components? Well, Boston University libraries, for starters. Penn State is also using web components heavily across several online course properties. Xfinity, anytime you've gone to a Comcast website, the top bar of the interface is an Xfinity tag, seen there on the right as XC-header. Or if you've played video games, EA Sports uses them heavily. Or if you've ever been to a McDonald's, all of the video boards are powered by web components. Patternfly is a design library being worked on by Red Hat to bring all of their design work into the web components world. YouTube, any aspect of the YouTube interface you can go to is built this way. Even the Chrome browser, if you go into the settings panel, has things like settings-section. BYU has really been ahead of a lot of other institutions in this area. They do all of their branding for major university websites this way. No more figuring out if we have the correct Pantone color or putting in the search bar to meet the specifications of the marketing team. Just drop a BYU header tag on the page and position it the way that you need it to be. Or do search. Or do the footer and have it be 100% brand accurate. And if you want to learn more about web components and what you can do with them, you can find more information at hackstheweb.org or webcomponents.org. Thank you.